The opposition has been drawn into the diplomatic standoff between the United Nations and Kenya. It follows the sacking of Lieutenant General Johnson Mogoa Kimani Ondieki, accused of failing to show leadership in July when civilians were attacked and killed in a Juba hotel. Court leader Raila Odinga, while agreeing that the general was not properly treated, criticized how the president handled the aftermath.
The unilateral decision by the president to withdraw troops from the UN mission in South Sudan and the further announcement that Kenya will discontinue its contribution of troops to the proposed regional protection force go against our established policy of engaging with the world.
After the sacking, President Kenyatta announced that Kenya will withdraw its troops, and indeed they have begun to arrive in the country. Kenya also announced that it will not contribute soldiers to the regional protection force made up of 4,000 troops. Odinga says this move was not well thought out.
These actions by the president are ill-advised. It is not clear whether he was acting on advice of the National Security Council or on his own, driven by anger. In this action, we see the president, who has been displaying strange acts of rage and anger locally, taking this to the global stage, making decisions based on anger and emotion to the possible grave damage to Kenya.
Odinga also says he's not aware of any consultations beforehand. He doubts if the president was advised by the National Security Council and holds that the president should have sought parliamentary consent before acting.
The world thrives on predictability and procedure. It is cheap of the government to claim, as it is doing, that some people were not happy with an African commander at the helm of the UN force.
Of concern to the opposition leader is the fact that South Sudan remains unstable. Kenya, Nepal, China and Burundi have been providing peacekeepers. On 11th of July 2016, South Sudanese troops, fresh from winning a battle with opposition forces in the capital Juba, are reported to have gone on a nearly 4-hour rampage through a residential compound popular with foreigners in one of the worst targeted attacks on aid workers in South Sudan's 3-year civil war.
We call upon the Kenyan government to work with other nations for a lasting solution to the problems facing South Sudan. Kenya has to take a traditional role of brokering peace in South Sudan.
Lieutenant General Johnson Mogoa Kimani Ondieki was the man in charge but did not intervene. A journalist was also killed and he stands accused of failing to stop the violence. The United Nations attempted to have Kenyan soldiers remain, but the talks failed and they were pulled out from the mission. Mijungu, NTV.